This woman was so sick. She was saying got up on her day. I said she went from place to place, but she could not get the treatment she needed. Finally, her son took her to the hospital. In the doctor said they should bring 5 pounds of blood. But this woman could not afford the money. Oh yeah, even her son could not afford the money. He left the mother at the hospital. He went to family member. He went to Uncle Johnny place. He said, Uncle, my mother is at you. I left my mother at the hospital. And the doctor said, we should bring 5 pounds of blood. Uncle, please help my mother. Uncle, help my mother. Uncle, I beg you, help my mother. Please help my mother. Oh, uncle, help her before she dies. Johnny looked in her face. He said, my son, I don't have no money, oh. My son, no money, oh. What tell your mama say? I don't have no money, oh. I will see what to do. But next week, my son, no money.
Well, good evening. Good evening. Welcome to the show. I am Alfonso Zane. So the panelists will be here this evening. As usual, we're going to have a conversation. All right, let's get a program going. That is unfolding. So we're going to be tapping into the expertise of our contributors, our panelists, and of course, you, our valuable listeners. Today is Friday.
Auntie, my mother is dying. I left my mother at the hospital, and the doctor said we should bring 5 pounds of blood. I have come to beg you, Auntie, help my mother. Auntie, please help my mother. Oh, Auntie.
Good evening. Welcome to the show. It's very shortly. We're going to get the program going.
Enter the house.
The wireless system.
She brought 500 from her money. She said, my son, I wish you well. I wish you well. Go tell your mama, say, I wish her well.
Just hit a share button for us and invite someone at your company.
Papa was so rich. He was rich. He had everything for his esposa. He said, Uncle, my mother is at you. I left my mother at the hospital. And the doctor said, we should bring 5 pounds of blood. Uncle, please, don't allow my mother to die.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And that's the beautiful voice of Minister Jemima Walcott right here, fading away on the diaspora informative news outlets. And very shortly, we're going to get this program. And I'm going to say welcome, Aaron, to Jim and Jay, and Trey, Nelson. You are our prompt and valuable listeners. Let's get the program going. The evening is fast spent. Too much is going on. We can't keep waiting to see what is happening in Liberia. Who are those perpetrators? We're going to tap into the expertise of our contributor here this evening. Good evening, folks. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. I am Alfonso Zane. So right here this evening, as usual, this is the Liberia Public Radio, and this is a Friday editions of Lpr-Tv Live with the panelists. The panelists will be here. We're going to be discussing a wide range of issues, and of course, the burning one is How does guns got to Liberia? For what reasons? What is the purpose? A lot of questions unanswered. A lot of questions. The press conference was held, but I'm not sure whether all of the basic questions were answered. So we're going to try spin around that. And of course, you also going to be part of this conversation here in tonight's edition. So we try reaching out to authority, but people are still tight-lipped. And hopefully there are other folks with the expertise. We ask one or two persons to join us here with the panelists for us to have this conversation, their take, and all of that. News making headlines in Liberia. Is there another political ploy or distraction? What is lacking? What is going on? LPR just coming on and getting some staggering news relative to those but they're yet to be verified and authenticated. But we hope to share those information with you as we're all doing everything possible to know the rule. I don't want to run out of Liberia, neither my people. Directly or indirectly, anything going on in Liberia, it does have an impact and puts heavy financial burdens and pressure on it because in as much we are here, we still have our families, we still have folks there, and it is our home. We saw what happens in the 15, 17, 16-year civil crisis. People went helter-skelter. I don't think that's what want to be encouraged, whether from the government, from the oppositions, or any other Liberians in and outside of Liberia that would try anything in any form to destabilize the country. It is unacceptable, and we must all condemn that from the onset. It is wrong. It is unacceptable. So let's see here. OJ is here. Is our senior contributor of the Liberia Public Radio. Is based in California. She's here this evening, and hopefully the other group going to be here. So let me just go here and bring in OJ here this evening. OJ, good evening. How are you? How was your week?
My week was great. I spent the New Year's with my family in Sacramento. Yeah, and I'm back in Los Angeles. I'm actually in my office. I got a bigger office when I came back to work, so that's good. It was good. Happy New Year. This is my first.
I'm seeing the 2023 flourishing all over you,
so far.
and absolutely, we pray a lot of great things going to be happening this year for all of us, for our country, except this crazy news that just came a few days with this sort of I don't know what is going on.
I know.
Why should it be? There are a lot of questions here. We'll try to dance around it. We'll try reaching authorities as well to get a first-hand information, not just to talk about it, but people are still tightly. But we always try to figure out to see how it looked like. How was the New Year celebration? Anything extraordinary? Anything special? Something new happening?
Every year I make it an effort to bring the New Year in church. So I went to church, my home church, Friends in Jesus. Shout out to Pastor Tim Wula. I've been in that church since I was 12 years old, and I'm 31.
Really? Wow.
So it's my home church every time I'm in Sacramento. So it's only right to bring in the New Year at church. Wow. I don't feel comfortable bringing the New Year anywhere else.
Anyway, yeah, I think that's a very good, wise decision. All other days, man, when we do it that day. Unfortunately, my New Year, I have to spend it, I don't know, on the clock. That's this country too. Sometimes, man, it dictates to people. People don't, because you got to catch up with a lot of things. But but overall,
at least you got the holiday pay, right?
Don't go there, please.
So it's a win-win situation.
It's a win-win. Oh, you got it right. Okay.
So in America, you get time and a half for holiday.
Time and a half, yeah. No, but let's leave it that way. Crazy. Some of these companies, they have their own way, specific way of making money. Sometimes if you're at a certain level, they will kind of do some kind of way to just squeeze you. But overall, it was good. Let me bring in our man to Walton Carter. Is also a contributor to the Liberia Public Radio. Pro-GOL is the pro-government supporter of President George Manning. We are the incumbent still in the race, asking for another 6 years, right? He asking for another 6 years, right? Walton?
Most definitely.
Most definitely. Yeah. Okay. To our many viewers, we say welcome, good evening to our own sis, Fameta, welcome, Anthony, to Amandu, Sophie, and all of you great people. Okay, so hopefully the rest of the group going to be joining us here. Let's start here. Can you use the camera much better to Wharton?
Yeah, I'm trying to fix it.
Okay, let me just get you off the screen. Okay, OJ, let's start the conversation here. I guess you've been monitoring what is happening in Liberia with respect to
the guns, right?
Yeah.
I know. I did some research on that, and it's very interesting that they found a military weapons in containers sent by a Liberian year based in Texas.
According
who
to
works
the
for
report.
American Airlines. So it's, to me, it sounds like it's an inside job, because weapons like that, you don't just, it's not an easy sense, right? You don't just send something such as those items to another country. There needs to be a lot of, gatekeepers who would have to do some checking and validation and background check before something like that can be sent to another country. Just like the same with drugs.
Right.
You don't send a pound of weed to another country without something being, checked. So I feel like it's an inside job. This gentleman, the Baker gentleman from Texas, maybe knows someone in Liberia who is up to something. Weapons we all know what weapons have done to our country. And I don't see there's a need right now. We're not in war. So why is someone who is not part of the government based in Texas sending this number of, weapons into the country? I feel like this person is being used as a third party by someone who is looking to cause trouble. And this is all accusation. This is all alleged. This is my personal opinion. I'm sure it doesn't hold weight, but it's very concerning. It's very scary. Guns is a scary situation. We all know what guns can do to people. So I'm curious to learn more about this story. I'm pretty sure there's going to be more information coming as the story continues to spread among Liberians, and as we get to find out what the motive is for transferring that number of guns into a country. So
okay, Watson, is there a way that you can a little bit? I want my viewer. I don't get one. I just don't. I don't want them to just see. But who's the guy here? Let's just see. Yeah, if we can fix it a little bit much better.
I know, something like that, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Better. Okay.
You gotta face the camera this way because it looks like you're like this.
Yeah. You need to send for pillow to back you up, or
there you go. Lift up the camera too.
A little bit, like that's good.
The camera is low. That's what it is, Mister.
Yeah.
So
I got the camera low.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's looking down.
I don't think I need to bring pillow or ice in our viewers to send pillow to Connecticut.
I don't mess my tripod up, so that's the reason why.
Okay. All right. Okay, my dear brother Ty, good evening and welcome.
Thank you so much, brother So, for having me. Thank you to I just what's your name again? I can't even see
Odelia Joy or OJ.
Just
OJ Simpson, orange juice.
OJ, yeah. Yeah. Thank you for having me. I was just listening to the question you posed to you asked her concerning the
No, let me bring it. Don't answer her questions. Who knows? I might reconstruct your question. So, but you can add if there's anything you want to. Yeah. Look, news is something that is concurrent, something that is happening spontaneously, and one of the big years, of course, the political conversations will dominate. But in the middle of all trying to figure out what is what, here we come. This sort of do you have our device on there? You want to also make sure you lower it.
Yeah.
Volume. Your light went off?
No, I'm here.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so out of a sudden, yesterday we saw the major conference. But let's be illustrative. I know the video is being in circulation. People are watching it over and over, but we also want to coordinate our conversation with whatever is unfolding. So, courtesy of our sister network in Liberia. Oh man, this conversation is about to go downhill. The liberal progressive is here from California. I don't know how is he. I don't know. He's the one involved with this Mish McCarthy. How do you call it? McCarthy. He is struggling with the speakership. I've not listened to this, so I don't know the latest. To be honest, the liberal progressive. Good evening. We're not hearing you.
As usual. Good evening, sir. Good evening, Madam, Mr. Good evening to all of you.
Good evening.
And
There seems to be a real life in you this evening.
Of course. I spent almost 3 hours golfing today, and I did real good. Golfing, yes.
Oh God.
on the internet.
How do we believe that? You have any picture to show us?
I'm going to show you my video one of these days, the video that I made back in 1989.
I'm talking about today's event. They say one of these days. Okay, well, good evening and welcome.
Thank you, Mr. So.
Okay, we were in the middle of it. Everybody's saying that this is a talking point. This is a soundbite. Interestingly, we are getting some information. The authenticity of those information is yet to be verified. We try to reach out with authority to get a tip for them. Everybody seems to be tight-lipped. We will get to that later on, but let's start here. Courtesy of our sister network crew in Liberia, they're doing an extraordinary job. Let's exhibit their footage yesterday in that sort of press briefings by security forces under the command of the police commissioner, Commissioner Patrick Sudu, at the national headquarters, speaking on this sort of developments. Let's listen a little bit and we want to pick it up from there.
American Airline.
Let's see what's happening here. Okay, let's see here. Wow, this thing.
And he also lived in Texas. When his residence was lit, so we called on the area and we pray for such a seizure warrant this morning. We got the warrant and executed the warrant, and during our search, we were able to discover some more cache of arms and ammunition in the ceiling of the house. We also arrested one Ezekiel Tama, who was also caught in the ceiling, hiding in the ceiling. We went, cut on the area, searched the area, and got the arms. All the arms we got, all of the house today was Cremont 6.5 by 55 millimeter assault rifle. We got AR-10 7.62 millimeter assault rifle. Winchester Mollet 1894 break action double barrel. And we have Newman. We have Newman arm 5.56 assault rifle, and we had assorted ammunitions. Then for the arms that were confiscated from the container, we have one Omega 15 5 by 56 by 45 millimeter. We have Rock River Lpr-Tv 5 by 56 by 45 millimeter. And we have M10 7.62 by 39 millimeter. And we have GP Watch 10 by 63 7.62 by 39 millimeter. We have Ruger American Rifle. One, we have Winchester. We have Mittsburg, Saber, Eagle, Star Revolver, and Heritage Revival. All of these arms are presently in the possession of
All right. Good evening, folks. Welcome to the show. That was the briefing there by the police commissioner to one of the highest security personnel to Republic of Liberia, addressing to Liberians, not just only Liberians, the nations, members of within the diplomatic enclave as well, making that announcement there. Okay, so we talked to somebody with a vast experience, security background to help us here as we navigate here with his experience. He's been involved, did a lot of proposal in past governments, heavily involved. You get a good security expert to use here. Let's bring in my own friend, brother, formerly of the Ocean State of Rhode Island, Moses, and where he's based in Delaware. Are you and Joe Biden sharing the same?
Yep. Good evening, everybody. I'm happy to be on. It's nice to see you all, and Happy New Year.
Thank you so much. All right. Okay, there you have it. I reached out to a friend and brother with a vast experience, security background. I'm not going to go into details of that, but I know somebody who is Okram with all of this kind of stuff as we try to push around here. The liberal.
Yes, Mr. So.
Let me just bring you in here. I was awake in the middle of submitting some sort of report, and as usual, my people said they know me because I can be doing multiple things at the same time because I'm a news freak. And I saw this video. I put to a halt to everything that I was doing because it was eye-catching. It was something that I think I needed to put eyes on. Have you had a chance to listen to some of it or hearing what is going on with respect to the news? It's sort of huge consignment of firearms being brought in the country.
Yes, I've been following for quite a while now, and I have also formed my own opinion, which I'm entitled to. I am not speaking as an armed expert or any kinds of security apparatus expert. I'm an engineer. That's what I do, and that's what I'm good at. However, I do have an opinion, which is also very, very excellent opinion, if I may say so. It's mine, Mr. So why are you looking at me like that? It's my opinion. I say it's good, it's good. Why are you gonna look at me like my opinion shouldn't be good?
Why are you always? Why?
I just want to put it. I just want to lay it out. I said my opinion is very excellent and a very good one. But no, let me just say this here. Look, on a very serious note, while I do appreciate the Honorable Suru coming on to enlighten the people of Liberia, it's very good. It's very good because what he has done, remember, we're just coming from war. So every citizen, everybody in Liberia is still jittery on a lot of things. But to have a security apparatus chief himself to come and give us some clarification, muddy as it may be, not very detailed, which is okay with me, but to stand there and be the face of the country at this particular time is reassuring to the people, and I really appreciate it. Now, Patrick Suru, I think, Mr. So, you know where I stand with him. As far as I'm concerned, in this government, there are few of them, including Patrick Suru, who have always been on the side of truth and rights of the people. I started following Patrick Suru from the date of the first protest, where he told the people, you want to go to protest, you're no gun going over there. And I saw that on video. And then another amazing thing was there was one time was reading flood in Liberia, Monrovia specifically, and he, as a police general, director general, was in the street of Monrovia during rainy season directing traffic. You know, when people do those kinds of stuff, you tend to form a high opinion of that person. However, Mr. So, Having said all of that, I think Patrice Suru should have just come out, be the closing, and allow one of the young men or one of the security person who perhaps have more detail or more understanding of the ammunition and arms than Mr. Suru. Because if you start eating, you're describing guns, you're supposed to be police chief, and you're describing gun, and you're going, that is not, it's not, I mean, just the uptake alone, it wasn't pleasing at all. And I thought perhaps if I was in his shoe, I probably would have been the one to close it and let somebody else, people who are truly involved and have the understanding of these weaponry and how they function, come out and give some details. Then I can come in as a chief to close it. But besides everything else, I think other than that, I think he did an excellent job. Now, let me close by saying this. In the scheme of things, I still say for this whole process here, if they go deep into it, they will find out that whoever it is that doing it have no nefarious motives whatsoever. I don't believe that a Liberian was shipped gone to Liberia for whatever reason, except to do business, illegal business. Now, but to say that what I've been reading on social media, formulating plan, whoever is planning this, nobody planning fasting in our country. Nobody. We will have an election, and the election will be peaceful. Nobody planning anything in our country.
All right, let's be succinct, and who knows, other folks going to come in, so we're going to have enough time. Okay, Moses, I'm not putting you on layaway. I want you to gather all of our talking points, and then you're going to put the cap on the head after I get the views, opinions of the analysts. But we're just warming up. Now I put up the video excerpts of it. You listened to the Lpr. What is the cutting edge here?
You want me to come in?
No, I'm talking to OJ. OJ, are you there?
Sorry, I didn't hear my name. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, sorry. So I said we started all warming up. We played a little script of the video just to get the public, even though it's out there, to know it very well. But you listen to the Lpr own analysis, which he strongly have a conviction about it. But I was just asking, what's the cutting edge here? What's your?
I definitely feel that this is very scary to have guns be shipped to Liberia. We all know what guns have done to our country. We're still suffering to this day. Mr. Liberal has said that he doesn't feel that something is brewing. It's probably to do business. I disagree. I really feel that this is an inside job. People are starting to start drama. I don't think it's for business. When the gun in Liberia became something lucrative for people to start business, if that was the case, we would have seen multiple businesses, gun businesses, open in Liberia. But this is the first time I have heard or seen guns like this, guns that are very military based, be shipped to Liberia. And the person who is, I guess the name is linked, Mr. Baker, based in America here in Texas, is responsible. And it just feels very iffy to me. I do feel that there is going to be some kind of drama, and I'm really, really happy that the Liberian National Police Force was able to find those containers and confiscate it, because who would have known what could have happened? From my knowledge, I don't think Liberia has any gun laws. I don't think Liberia's have any, we can hardly deal with just basic things. So imagine if guns would just be given out to just normal people, what could happen? But it's definitely an inside job. Someone has something to do with this. Someone has something to do with trying to potentially start some kind of war. And I pray against it. I really hope that this is not the case. But I'm, again, very grateful that this was confiscated, because who would have known? Who would have known? We would have probably be in some deep water. And I really hope this Baker gentleman is prosecuted. They did mention that a few people were arrested, which is good. But there needs to be some deep punishment for whoever is responsible for bringing this gun into a country where we are still struggling to build after 2 civil wars.
Okay. Let me go to Connecticut, where our contributor is a pro-government supporter, GOL, and he's based in a state where constitutions is highly regarded. And you don't just mess when you're passing through Connecticut. You got to be careful, because other than that, before you get home, they're going to send one fat ticket to you. Wharton Kettle, let me just bring you in here. You've been following the scenario since yesterday. Conversations on various network, depending where you go. Of course, politics would definitely be incited into this. But as a pro-government supporter, saying that monitoring news coming here, what is running through your mind? What's going on here?
Well, thank you so much. I will speak for not for what people saying, but I would like to speak from a logical point of view. I think the security came out with a statement. There was a container that was such. They got a lead from the counterpart from security intel and all that. They searched the container halfway and they found arms and ammunition. The name on one of a couple of the boxes or barrel that they took the arms from. They were able to contact the individual. That name were on that identical part. And they phoned her. They also contacted the broker. They arrested the broker and the lady. Through interview or investigation, they were able to go to this guy they call Baker House, where they found additional arms and ammunition. And the investigation is ongoing. I will ask all Liberians to remain calm and wait for the investigation to unearth the motive, to unearth how it got to Liberia in the first place. Because I mean, if you buy arms from America and you don't have legal documents to ship it to Liberia, because remember now, ECOWAS has a law in West Africa that you cannot bear arms as a citizen except it is government or security, and it's being given by the government. Every arm that is even assigned to government people, the ECOWAS have the serial number for that arm. So if somebody is sending arms through containers to Liberia, whether it's for business purpose, illegal business purpose, or whatever, I think it's dangerous, because if they land, like the Inspector General said, if it lands in the hands of somebody bad, they could do something very bad in that country that would turn our country upside down. It only takes one crazy person to shoot a political leader or try to assassinate our president. Our whole country is going back to square zero. I mean, you know, and that's the scary part of it. So I'm going to leave it as it is until we can get sufficient evidence, because people giving their own theory. Oh, government brought in guns to make the process go scary. Opposition did this to make. No. I'm not going to go there, because I will be only, adding more fuel to the fire that is not necessary, and let the security people do their work. I'm sure at the end of the day, the individual who is responsible to ship those things will be arrested in America, because it's a strong lawyer. Regardless where he is, he's going to be arrested and he'll be turned over to the proper authority.
Let's bring you this happening news. Okay, good evening, folks. The conversation is getting much more serious. We are getting unconfirmed reports. However, those information yet to be verified and authenticated by state security. We are now hearing those guns. They were bought 2001, and more or less from Israel. The question becomes, who is the buyer and who is the sender? Those questions, I was a little bit disappointed at that press briefing. Nobody raised their question. I'm going to be Moses, I'm going to be bringing you with your vice experience in this sort of stuff here to help us out here. But let's set the basis of the conversation. I'm an open-minded guy, free thinker. We saw what happened in MMD Flanzamiton case. Liberia is, the border is wide open. We saw what happens when Taylor Cross uses Butuo. We saw Kwiwongba and all of those places. What I do know, there is an embargo currently on Liberia, embargo. It's very crucial. It's very cardinal to this conversation. Helen Johnson Sirleaf did try to get with Uncle Sen to have that embargo lifted, not yet. It is only the government of Liberia, but with the embargo, only the government of Liberia has the authority to bring in anything that could or potentially with the ability to defend and protect the motherland. And that can be done through either the airport or the seaport. They are in charge. The question now is, how does things get to the port? People of interest and a lot of news will reveal anything you buy, if you're mailing a letter here or anything here, there is a sender and there is a recipient. So we need to know, first of all, in as much those informations were provided lengthily by the police commissioner, which we appreciate, we do not know who is the buyer of those arms. We do not know who is the sender of those arms. One person can buy, another people can do it. We didn't see the bill of sale, because if that container gets there, anything that gets to Liberia, there is a bill of sale out of transparency on all of that. And I'm wondering why people who we saw what happened when Taylor crosses the border. We saw the ammunition that were used to cross the border, pistols and all of these weapons here. Is that strong enough to unseat a sitting government? What is happening here? If it is true, and we're waiting to see what Uncle sent eventually, because those guns, according to folks that we talk to, more or less, they are Jewish guns. They are not, or many of them are not. The bullets did not match with what they are saying. That is a concern. But we're waiting to see. We do not want to be judgmental. We're waiting to see what Uncle Sam going to be saying, because if there is an embargo on Liberia, then how comes, because every container that leaves this place here, you have people coming, they will scan it more or less for drugs and all of that. And how can they get there? Moses, let me just bring you into this fry here, because this is scary. So we must condemn it in any form, whether it's a makeup or whether it's a ploy deliberately to destabilize our country, which we do not want. This is not something, it is unacceptable. But let me just bring you in here. With your background, you listen to the police chief, the commissioner, his briefing. What captured your most attention?
Well, let me first start by saying that, the Liberal and OJ and Wilton, thanks for your insert. And I think these conversations are needed so that we can respectfully discuss these things and see how, whatever is going to happen can be prevented. My first reaction today was that listening to the press conference, I thought that press conference was prematurely held. It was prematurely held. And given the seriousness post-war and talking about the embargoes, the security apparatus are there to investigate and try to stop any ills from coming to that country when it comes to arm embargo, anything that has to do with violating the laws of the land. And I think one thing that is taught in criminal justice is that you never try to be overzealous in your investigation or to speak up. When you start to be overzealous or be anxious because you want to impress the community or you want to gain some points on your shoulder, that's what ends up being given these kind of conversation now. People are now thinking, who brought it? And they're pointing fingers. opposition, this person, government is doing this. That's why, as a security entity, when you're doing joint security operation, it's very quiet and low key until you all the evidence that you need to present, and do it in a holistic form. You can't do pass and parcel and you tell folks, we're going to wait to tomorrow, we're going to go and open the whole container. If you didn't inspect the entire container, it was premature for you to come and talk about what you found so far. The arrests that were done of those individuals were only suspects. They're only suspects. The police reading charges and the commissioner giving charges of these people and saying these person were charged with this, it creates an atmosphere of confusion. You suspected someone, you got the evidence, you know who, because there's something called airway bay. When you ship a container at airway bay, after the container is inspected, where it's coming from, the port is coming from, is inspected. You prepare the airway bay. That airway bay is sent with the container to the port of entry. The airway bay, as you rightfully said, Alfonso, is that it comes with the container. So there's documentation that is connected to the container. Now, when you go out and say there were weapons from China, weapon made in the U.S., it creates a confusion. Where these weapons coming from? You know, everybody here know, why would Chinese-made weapon be coming from the U.S.? Come on now. The United States is very, very careful on the import of weapons in the United States and the output of weapons. So when you talk about this container coming from the U.S. and going there, and the first thing you say is a weapon from China and then a weapon from the U.S., that creates a kind of confusion. That's what I said. You know, in criminal justice or in investigation tactics, you cannot be overzealous. You have to make sure to do what you need to do. There are a lot of loopholes that we can say. But I think that the security apparatus in Liberia, with no fault of their own, needs to be educated more on how to deal with investigations in that country and how to host press releases. Because many of the press that were there, some of the questions that I would have asked or anyone in this panel would have asked, we weren't there, we couldn't ask it. And if those people are not educated enough to understand what the works are of the security apparatus, then it creates a problem. Post-war, national security should be everybody's prerogative. Anything that has to do with weapons should be everybody's prerogative. So you need to be careful on how you disclose these things, how you host press conference. And I think today the security apparatus were really overzealous, and I think they prematurely did what it did yesterday by coming up without a conclusive investigation to have a press conference. And how do you have a press conference without the Ministry of the Solicitor General or someone who understands the law of the land? You see, what you see here in other countries, that's what, you know, you need to understand best practices. You need to learn from other people how to do things in the 21st century. You don't see people having press conferences without all the apparatus and prosecutors standing right there, because it has to do with the law. It has to do with the law. They are the one who are going to come up with the charges after looking at the document to determine what kind of charge to level against the suspects. So by virtue of that, you do very little talking, you the investigator, do very little talking until you have all the evidence presented to the process, to the Attorney General's office and what have you. Let me just say this. I respect all the police directors in Liberia in the past and the present. But there's one guy that stands out for me, two guys that stand out for me. One, Edwin Luzon Hammer. He was the first trained police science officer. When he got to Liberia, you know what he did? He told them to take the name false, National Police Force, eradicate the name force. And they changed that from the Liberian National Police Force to the Liberian National Police. And he said the police department needed to be a total anonymous entity from under the Department of Justice. And that's why here you see in developing countries, they have a public safety commission that the police force under. So that if the police does something wrong, the Justice Department can prosecute them. We're all human. We can do things wrong. So until we do that, it's going to create some of these chaos. But let me not dominate the conversation. I just wanted to make those points. And there are a lot of things that I wrote here that I won't have the chance to talk about tonight. But in due time, we can talk about it. But I think national security is everybody's prerogative. And
I think this, okay, we want to welcome our guys, Sissy and Amos George. Thank you. Before I go to them here.
Mr. Soul, can I make a point of correction from Brother Moses? He said he talked about charges. There were no charges levied on anybody. The police said, in fact, Patrick Solu said they generally asking about charges. He said we are not interested in charges right now. We're trying to investigate to see the intent of the weapon, where it came to Liberia for, who it for, and where it came from and all that. He never talked about charges. There were no charges levied. And you were talking about people with, let's say, the lawyers should be there, all that thing. We be in America, yeah, we see when like gun shooting incident take place in a school or everything, we see the police chief, maybe the city mayor or whoever stand over there and give
the district attorney. The district attorney always there.
That's the process.
That's what he's making.
But if you listen to the video, he did mention charges.
No, there was no charges. I listened to the whole thing from the start.
Well, I think I heard something else.
It was about the logging company. The charges were about people doing illegal logging.
Okay. So, all right, let's get to the conversation, guys. Welcome. I think this is more or less, this is more or less serious because if this is not properly addressed, the fate of the election is at stake, and we don't know then peaceful. We don't want that. But Moses, let me just ask you. The police commissioner was very elaborate in releasing some information. Usually, and I say usually based on what we see here, they come in bits and pieces, and to give deep breathings in that they want to be accurate, but it was very much definitive. He identified where the consignment came from, the person, and all of that, who the person that was receiving it. So why didn't they display like the bill of sale? Who is the sender?
Well, and that's what I said. I think they were overzealous in their effort today, and in trying to, or yesterday, in trying. I'm not sure who they were trying to impress, but I think the police needs to have some training in what to do at press conferences. One of the things that I really had, concerned about is the display of those weapons and the damage they can cause. Was that necessary? That going from one weapon to the other and say this can do this can do that, this is one, and description of what the weapons can do. Was that needed in a press conference, really? And we don't want to know the damages that the weapon can cause. Having a weapon is enough of a case to make. And those corporates involved with the weapon trafficking should be brought to justice. And you have people going in there and talking about this one has a stethoscope on it. You can kill somebody from a long distance. You can see someone from full football field and you can draw them closer. Was that necessary, really? Those are the questions that I ask myself, whether those were necessary. And my brother just came out and, I stand corrected, But I think the press conference were two separate press conferences that were mixed in there. The first part of it, I couldn't understand what they were talking about. Thanks for correcting that with the shipping of whatever. And then it just went to the police, to the weapon. So that again was confused. That should have been two separate press conferences. You see, so our police, our security apparatus need to be trained to not be overzealous in their presentation and to be thorough in their investigation. I rest.
All right. Let me bring in Amos George and Sissy. Okay, guys, again, good evening. Welcome. With all of these political conversations, we are talking about in the absence of peace, we can have a peaceful democratic change or transition. So we all must be concerned with what is happening. You listened to the conference yesterday, and I was just outlining some stuff here. Government is the only entity that should bring in weapon, if there's a weapon, to come in the country to defend and protect the motherland. But what we do know is the embargo is still in force. And those weapons, our understanding, they came through the port of Monrovia. So there is a sender. When I'm sending the mail to you here, I will want to make sure you need, because I know the value, whether it's bad or not, there's a value. I want to make sure of your address, the zip code, and that is even delivered just right in time. We're able to know, we're able to identify some people, but we still do not know the buyers. So how did it even get from the port is being reported from Texas or other places to get to Monrovia? Let me bring you in here. Listening to this conference, and we are just looking at from prior history. We know what happened from different MMD, Flanzamington case and all of that. I'm not saying it's one of those here, but we are trying to open a corridor here to have a broader conversation. What was your first instant yesterday? I said, listening to that press briefing and the information provided by the police commissioner.
Hi, everybody. Hey, Moses, nice to meet you. My sister OJ, the orange juice is still good. It hasn't been poisoned yet, just so you know. Hey, welcome, my man. I'm texting you today. See my hand? Don't lie on me, say I'm texting you. So, the Liberal and Jonathan, how you doing? I'll keep my hand at the all the time I'm talking my head, but two ever be that. I know.
Oh, you might finish saying the tell before he telling you, eh?
Yeah.
Wait on that.
We are all interested in, for some of us, not all of us. Some of us are interested in changing political leadership in Liberia come 2023. We can all disagree on who has the best dream and vision and mission and intention to chart the next 6 years of Liberia's path as far as the presidency is concerned. What we cannot disagree on as patriotic Liberians is that the change has to come through the legal constitutional process. Nobody has the right to infringe, because trying to bring weapons into the country or trying to manufacture that weapons or bring to the country, whatever narrative we believe in, nobody has the right to threaten the security of our people to go and cast their lot, their faith. Because according to one pastor, a pastor who's not a senator here, he said, voting is like faith. It's like you're going somewhere because you're putting faith in something. You're telling somebody, with this, I put my faith in you that the next 6 years as a president, you will make decisions for me and my children and my children's children and for their future, that you will put them first. And so everybody should have the right, every Liberian should have the right to cast their faith without duress. Doesn't
Yes.
matter if you opposition, even if you're my guy that I support or the president. I think we all should be running towards peace and peaceful elections. Having said that, there were a lot of mistakes. But I want to try to be a little bit to presume positive intent. Okay. And I might not be right, but I want to presume that Patrick Sudu and the Liberia National Police have nothing to gain in scaring our people. Because when you scare your population as a police, national police, you create more work for yourself. So I think that looking at the fervor in the country, the vitriol at which we communicate our political differences, and the charged environment that is our political system in Liberia, especially getting closer to elections, has led to this false start. When you put this in context with the speeches, the utterances by the chief of staff of the armed forces of Liberia, and you draw a line to what's happening, it is scary. It is very, very scary. If I were advising the police chief as a political advisor, I would have hoped that that press conference would have been made in tandem with the National Security Agency and Musadin. They all flank Musadin and they discuss it, because this thing is not just a violation of the small arms embargo, right, which is a billable offense, right? Because when they got the gun for Yeke Korubaka and the protest the last time, that was a billable offense. This breaks a lot of international laws and embargoes, ECOWAS embargoes and the United Nations embargoes, and it threatens the national security of the state. So to have seen police officers handling evidence without gloves was disheartening, because now you create the situation where people would not trust the outcome. We know in Liberia, ordinarily, people weren't going to trust the outcome anyway. So I don't think the police should have given them the ammunition, and I think this is the wrong word right now to use, given what is happening, but they shouldn't have given them any reason to doubt their outcome. So what I've said is that, they released way too much information way too early. And I think that will hamper their investigative ability. And I think there was certain information they should have kept for security reason, and they should have dug further, especially. And then when they decided they were going to come out to the public, when the journalists asked him, "Are we going to be there when the containers open?" He said, well, he danced around and said, well, but there's something for national security. We can't have you around. Well, you already said everything. So what now is there now? Now the press got to be there to document the chain of command or chain of custody of the evidence now you have in your possession.
There you go.
However, though, I think I'm going to differ a little bit with my brother Moses. I actually saw reason why the guns were necessary to be displayed, because just coming out as a CDC government and saying we found guns without showing it, I was going to be one person out here chewing them up. The other thing also is that sometimes you show the effect of the weaponry to kind of show the gravity of what you're talking about. Now, this is not just single barrel, hunting single barrel. Even here in the US, sometimes people talk about it when the police talk about they found armor-piercing ammunition, right? They talk about that, talk about assault-style rifle, AR-15, military-grade weapons and stuff. I do, however, agree with you, Moses, that the extent to which they went about, how far the scope can go, that was a little bit unnerving for me. But I think the police ought to have shown the weaponry and try to describe how much force and how much damage they can cause within reason, so that they lay out for the public to understand the gravity of the cache of arms and ammunition that they have.
Okay, I think the house is in full, so we got to kind of like do it here. Let me bring in Amos George, and I'm going to come to Dulake. Amos George.
Yeah.
Uncle Sam is having an embargo on Little Liberia. Embargo.
Yeah.
Now, we're not hearing these arms allegedly coming or from America. That is a violation of our own embargo, because Helen Johnson's government did try to have that lifted, and that didn't work. With the GOL, the police commissioner briefing, that becomes so definitive to say this is where it came from. What happens down the road, tomorrow, day after? And I for sure know the embassy, they're not going to be quiet. They're going to speak. What happens when there's a position or there's a statement from the chief of mission and say, no, this is not from here? How can you reconstruct this case? How can the police then come back to argue this case? I'm trying to just get ahead of this whole game here. Caller, we're going to be opening the line here soon, but just hold on 1 second.
How are you doing, Mr. Moses, Cece, Jonathan, OJ, Kede, how you doing?
You doing, Mr. George?
Yes. If the question you're asking, if the U.S. Embassy said no, those arms did not come from America, that case is done. Then the government is done. But there are a few things that I didn't see yesterday that I was just saying. In that press that he said something that bothered me, and certain thing he didn't say that bothers me. One of the things that I just is the container. That's why I saw a lot of displays of incompetence of the police. You said, the director said they have a tip off. They went to the port, they opened the container, they saw the boxes with the arms, and they took it off. But then he said they have to close it because they got a tip off. They didn't want the other suspect to leave. That is very irresponsible. So are you saying the team that you had, they put that the only team that you have to use to run the other suspect? You see, these are things when people talking, they are not mindful, because you shut down the container according to you. You didn't complete that search. Now I'm a free thinker. It creates doubts in my mind. So how can you come back tomorrow and say these are the other weapons that were found there? The search of that container should have been done completely. It should have been done completely. If there was news that other suspects, dispatch another team, because you had a joint security. Dispatch another team. If they cannot do the search, but deploy them around that premises. Nobody come, nobody go in until you arrive. You can't close the container and say, oh, we didn't want the suspect to run away. No, it's unprofessional. And I hate to say this because I have met the director before. I hate to say this thing, but these are how reality. It's unprofessional. You can't do it. Now, the next thing is, you say, okay, we went to this place. I saw a video. Someone was in the attics and taking the arms from there and passing it over. No gloves, nothing. Holding the arm and just passing the other man. Oh, they're on that. Oh, the AK-47. Oh, yeah, they put it down. The question that comes to mind is, were the serious number of those arms taken? Because all the guns got serious numbers. All of them, they have serious numbers. It can be traced from the manufacturer. Where it was sold, you can trace it from that serial number. He did not mention those things, and the gun was just handled like that. You are already tampered with evidence. Because if you use the gloves, there's possibility someone just touched that gun, the fingerprint will remain on the arm. When you fingerprint those things, you can be able to try to trace the people. If you catch people, you start taking the fingerprint and matching it, you can identify people from that point. That was not done. Then he said another thing. All the ammunition is here. None matches the weapon here. But we think there might be somewhere else. Why are you thinking like that? Keep that as part of your investigation.
Okay.
let me just close on this. And one of the ridiculous things he said that we are now going to search every car in the street of Monrovia. What's the evidence you got? Are you seeing the suspect you go talk to said that all the cars in Monrovia you should search? No. It should be narrowed down if they give you any information. Like, what is the make of this car? What is the color of this car? So it was such this is the particular vehicle we'll be looking out for. Not everybody. I think the Sue overreacted, and we don't have much time. But some of the statement he made, I think it was out of line, completely. Somebody had nothing to do with the investigation.
Yeah, just to, in the interest of fairness, we did try to reach the police authority today, place multiple phone calls up to this time. Everybody tightly. Janitor, let me just bring you in here quickly here. Janitor, are you there?
Janitor there.
Do like it.
I mean, you see ANC never phone.
Look at that.
You know, I was having a conversation. I think everybody getting serious, but let me just poke in this here. All of these major political parties, right? They get their own spoiler. They get their own spoiler. When you go to ANC,
why are you gonna pick on Janitor?
No, not Janitor. I say all of them. Don't worry. I come into everybody. When you go to ANC, we don't hear about Louis Brown in a few days since the whole 70K. All right. When you go to Boyka there, Costa is his own design.
You can change the whole conversation.
I'm coming to it. That's all, because everybody seems to be serious now. So we got to create some excitement here. And then when you come to CDC, the mayor is here on the same Nathaniel McGee gone. The mayor is the guy that is in this is the center of gravity right now, Mayor Koji. But Janitor, let me just come to you. You as a Liberian, without inserting greater portions of politics into this thing here. First of all, I did a tweet yesterday. I said it's a disgrace, it's disaster, it's shame. Those people must be shamed, whatever way, whether it's employed, because I know I went through gun. I was in the country when it happens. I was at the free port of Monrovia. I was one of those who turned to a mass choir when Prince Johnson, IMPFL people entered the LPMC warehouse. And the story is an endless story. We all know. So for anybody in any form, anywhere outside or inside of Monrovia, and this is where this whole thing comes from. The minds is also placed with crazy things that go on. When you listen to our leaders, and this is no justification, but good thing doesn't come from out of their mouths. The both government, the opposition, every day, blood will share, we will fight, we'll do this, we'll do this. Now, here we are talking about these sort of dangerous weapons. It's troubling, especially ahead of a major consequential election. Janitor, let me just bring you here quickly here. What is your own instance listening to that press conference? Depending where you go, when you go on the side, they will say opposition. When you go on the side, they say it's a government. Crazy situations. Yeah, let's hear from you quickly before I go to
first day, are you getting me?
We're getting you loud and clear.
I think the
we got
you. Follow me here, America.
What? ANC will join their support?
On a serious note, welcome Moses and Dada Keta, and to all of the distinguished colleagues on the show, including OJ. There are a few things, and very quickly, not in any particular order. Weapons, money, and chemical for different industrial purposes are very cardinal issues that when passing through the port of entry of our country should be to the knowing of the National Security Agency of the Republic of Liberia. It is very important. It is so important, and it was the basis on which we protested for the manner and form money that were brought into the country were surreptitiously conducted, and up to today, we still have some of the debris on our economy at different levels, and we can point to that at another time. But for me, I don't see it like many others will say. We've gone through too many things, and using this thing as an alibi against government or wanting to use it against people who may be perceived or fear tactics into politics for the 2023 election, excuse me, I don't see it as a major issue, because I think it just take away from the our sense of belonging. But a country that can have 100 million worth of illegal substance called drugs enter that country, it's a clarion wake-up call to the extent to which those who tip us had to be our bilateral partners, the same group of people at another government armed that sanctioned 3 of our officials that we are unable to beg them to enhance the investigation. It tells us there are too many things on the way. Now, if we go to the scientific and investigative standpoint, like George squarely placed it, we have destroyed crime scene in this country in Liberia for too long. You remember the first group of police officers that went to Princess Copper, who died suddenly at the David Junction. The crime scene was already destroyed before even investigation could have gone on. You follow carefully the armed situation, and those who are handling it, as Pajor said, nobody carried gloves. There was nothing to preserve the scene.
I wanted a taxi person calling here. Jennifer, hold on, let me see, because I beg you, because somebody from Texas been calling here, sending message. I don't know what other the people need. Let me just hold on. Yeah, I beg you, please. Let me just. Hello, caller. Can you lower your monitor, please? Let me just hold on. Yeah, I beg you, please. Let me just. Okay, lower your monitor, and then we can call back. Jennifer, go ahead. In fact, when we open the line, we can do that. Go ahead. Sorry.
So there are lists of investigation. Today we are only talking about arms, and so we are treating the situation, and thank God to the platform, and thank God to those who discover it. But we are discussing a thing as though we are dealing with a solution of a particular situation just for today. Our conversation has been dealing with the issue holistically to give confidence in every sector of government, so that when any of these things happen, the people can rely on the trust and ability of the government. Today, Princess Copper and the case that all of us on the platform get our own interpretation to it, but the crime scene was destroyed. Today, we still have the question of Alex Williams, who is police officer. Alex, who was a police officer in Great Jida County. The investigation is still a fiasco as we speak. Today, a journalist called Chris David was murdered in Bon County, October 30, 2020. It is still to the general point as to whether they have confidence in the investigation. The armed situation, John Square, the director went to name Benjamin Baker. He went to name Barbara Deborah. He went to name Melvina. Then when the general asked him, he wants to conceive. What is that? What is that? So these things must be investigated properly, because it hampers our reputation. It creates a blockade between Liberia as a whole, the image of our country. That is why when you investigate one, you should clear it out. You should build confidence in the community. And so it is just
okay. All right.
Appalling going to elections.
Okay, quickly here.
And hearing this kind of news as it is right now. But it is no strange news than the many investigations that we have heard about in the past.
Keto seems to be the center of gravity now. He's not speaking for the government. He does support GOL, which is good, so he can provide his own views and analysis. I saw you whacking your head, moving here and there. It seems to me something is not right. But let's just go through this line here. The $1 million drugs that were brought in the country, we don't know their outcome. The thousands of dollars came from the Middle East. The investigation is still inconclusive. We're not hearing this. And again, we're yet to verify this information. Other sources, people are telling us that these arms were bought 2021 and more or less from Israel. If that case, those informations are verified, we try to reach out with authority to establish the authenticity of this information. Everybody's still tight-lipped. But we are hearing that it's Uncle Sam. What is going through your head? If Uncle Sam comes back tomorrow to say, oh, no, this is not from us. In fact, there's an embargo on the country. So where are we coming from with this? How can GOL reconstruct this case?
So, brother, so I will not dive into the speculation and all that. I will go with the facts that we have. I think that the American government, Liberian government, work hand in hand when it comes to human trafficking, when it comes to drugs, when it comes to these things such as arms. This is not just the first time America being cooperating with Liberian government in intel. The $100 million drugs that was discovered that came from, I think, Brazil area. The American had a tape on it, and they gave the Liberian government information. They could have stopped it on high sea. They could have even stopped it from the very country it came from, but they allowed to get to Liberia to see. These are things that the people do to get to see where this drug is heading, to see who are the buyers, who are the receiver, where it is, where this drug will finally land. And they tipped the Liberian government or the security, and they were able to arrest the drugs. So I think there are ongoing investigations, and it's not, you see, this is the thing, Mr. Moses, and I think somebody said it was premature that they came out so early to start uncovering a lot of different information that will, have no problem here in the future on this investigation. But you see, in Liberia today, we got so many doctors, so many lawyers, so many professional journalists, so the investigators. The man can be holding camera like they in your hand. He's a big investigator. He knows even more than the investigator. So the thing about it, if security gets information and go do search, and they just somebody on the survey just leak a secret out, it's a whole big thing. They will take it out of proportion. So I think I was shaking my head when my brother was talking. This is not to be politicized. That's the reason why I've been hearing different stories from all angles. I didn't accuse any opposition when I came on this platform. I didn't accuse government, because it is our security. When something happened in Liberia, not government official alone would die. And that's opposition alone would die. You gotta take the late Samuel Doe message he gave us. He said, when two elephants fight, the grass suffer, and people overlook that saying. Doe died, I think 1991 or 1990. Our war continued up to 2003. 2003, right? Our war continued. I was in Liberia from the beginning of the war up to 96, when they burned my house down on Randall and Carroll Street intersection. We were in the house when the rebel came and put us out and burned the house. They were going to execute us. That's why George Calando ran away from Randall Street and went across the bridge. Kept us limited on Randall Street, where I live. So we went through the experience. For people to politicize this, it's a shame. There should be no political comment about this. It should be a national comment, a national wake-up call for all of us. Whether this gun was intended, those guns was intended for market to go outside Liberia, or intended for market in Liberia, I think we should condemn it, because the kind of weapons that were exhibited over there, they are dangerous weapons. Dangerous. You can sell it. You can give it to armed robber. Armed robber can take or use marksman gun. Armed robber will use pistol, a little machine gun to scare people out. But we should be careful as Liberians to stop jumping to conclusion. Let us give our security apparatus. Yeah, there will be a little bit amateur here and there. Look, my people, we destroy our country. We destroy the intelligent people. I mean, our intelligent people that were there before never passed the knowledge on to the people that are there today. Our people getting training in bits and pieces. You understand? Everybody in the country is some kind of professional.
In
The
their own
journalists, the so-called journalists on the street, the so-called film tellers. I won't even call them journalists. The film told us they consider themselves journalists. When they're asking questions alone, you wonder where they're coming from. You understand? So let's be careful about how we take the narrative. At least we got an information. I don't think the inspector general would be that foolish to say a container came from America, knowing the container came from somewhere else. He said we got an intel. He also commend the American government. Reason is they got intel from here. How you think they opened the container? How they went to the container to open it? How they were able to link the container to the lady who name was on the barrel or whatever? How they got the information to go to Broadway to get this Joseph Benjamin Baker guy? How all this thing happened? How they know the container came from Texas? And we saying the guns was from Israel or wherever. Look, my people here understand. Everything we do in America here, it say made in China. Jordan from America, Jordan in China. iPhone was designed here, assembled in China. Anything you do, your clothes that you buy here, made in China. So it's not surprising.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Sewell, can I just say something from the security perspective a little bit?
Yeah, then I will go to the Liberal and OJ. Yeah, go ahead. Moses.
Thank you very much. One of the things I think Mr. Judge and Cece alluded to is that when you do this thing prematurely, it taints your case. It compromises the case to go further. When we talked about my whole issue of saying the description of the weapon was premature is because the magnitude of the weapons that you have, that's where it's in court that you make the case to elevate and to justify the weight of your sentence. So doing it publicly has already tainted the case, because everybody in the streets, like my boy Keda said, is a professional in their own rights. They're going to make their own judgment, and who knows what that's going to instigate. Now, the other thing is that if they knew the container was there and they had weapons in the container, just as they acquired a warrant to go and visit the house in Broadville, they must have had a warrant to go and seize that container. And I agree that once you start to search and seizure a law, I don't know what they have in Liberia, you don't stop until you complete that search.
It's the same law.
You don't stop until you complete that search, because you already have acquired a search and seizure with the tape, with the information, the intelligence that you received. You gave that intelligence to a judge to give you a warrant. And that gives you all the right to search that premises. Okay? And if you had the warrant to go search this place where the lady was, and you see, these are all in these things, these are all allegations. Until you complete your thorough investigation and present your evidence to the Solicitor General or the Attorney General or the District Attorney to determine whether those evidence can hold water, they're all allegations and suspects.
Okay.
They're all so we just need to make sure from the investigative part, and I agree, some part with janitor, there are a lot of things that are going on, and that we've never seen an investigation come to an end. And it's not just during this administration. It's not just during this administration. In Ellen's administration, there were a lot of investigations put in place that we never saw the end of.
Harry Greaves.
That investigation is still in limbo. And there were a lot of other things. The guys that got killed during the fight between two of the security apparatus.
Allison.
Okay, so we know that these things we cannot. This is not political. I think I came here today. We came here today understanding, and Brother Sewell said this is not political. Look at it from the perspective of what it brings to the country of Liberia. The national security threat that we face post-war is very serious, and we need to take it seriously. Thank you.
Okay, let's push on here. Let's do the Spain. Let's keep it succinct. But before I leave here, Keto, let's undo these political institutions, and let's put out the governments as Liberians and watching, listening to the press conference. What you realized or saw was very unusual to say, well, I think they should have done it this way. Is there anything that you pick up from that?
So just for a disclaimer, I one person who always frown at the police, the way they conduct investigation. I thought that sometimes, I mean, from day one, that the police, they are so amateur in doing investigation. Remember when the couple were found in a van out there, and people tampering with the car alone, touching the doors and all that thing. I felt it was so premature. People, the surveillance going all around and messing with evidence. And I've been talking about this. So there's no doubt in my heart that, that my mind, that the police
training,
and, they're amateurly operating. But again, like I said, we got a society that the professional people that were there are supposed to, even though they said use the old map to plot the new map. We zero all of them. Or most of them left the country, they're gone.
No.
So we got these young people that are coming together, and they are not taking proper instruction and learning properly to say, look, when there's a crime scene or when there's an incident or suspicion, you have to, keep the evidence in such a way that it will not be tampered with.
Okay, let's leave it there. OJ, let me bring you in here. We're still in the embryonic stage of this whole, I see a preliminary, but a lot of information already being out there. What are you looking for next in subsequent briefings by the security apparatus? What will you be looking up to hearing? What will you anticipate them pointing to? Now we get a lot of information here. Would there be more, or would there be some other thing that something that right here will start scratching here or something? Yeah, what will you be looking for next, you think?
Next, I would hope that there is a follow-up with the investigation, like another meeting where they can address the public in the right manner once the investigation has been completed. But I do want to say that I don't feel that this situation should be politicized. It definitely has to do with our safety. This is extremely dangerous. I just had a few questions though. From my understanding, the guns were sent by a gentleman named Baker based in Texas, right?
Yeah, according to
Allegedly.
And he allegedly works for American Airlines. And that's why I feel that this situation sounds like an undercover, there is like something is going on. This is an underwork. Something is happening because this person knows the in and the out to send such items like that to another country, right? He knows how to ship it. Maybe he knows someone who can do something to bring a weapon. That's why I feel like this is somebody who's based in Liberia, maybe with working for the government or doing something, has a lot to do with what is going on here, because it doesn't make sense. And then the recipient, the lady that was arrested, she also needs to be investigated. So I feel like we need to look. Yes, it's important to look at the weapons and what was sent, but it's also important to investigate the individuals, like who these people are. Obviously, there is a name, right? We have names. So we need to investigate to see, is there a connection to, I don't know, anything negative that is happening in Liberia? There needs to be some investigation. And in doing the press conference, I did not hear anything so much about who these individual people were. So if the National Police can address that will be very informative for us. This is just scary. I really hope that they do more investigation. It's unfortunate that we don't really have a strict way to conduct press conferences, investigation in Liberia. I do agree that we need more training, but hopefully this is like a lesson that we can take and hopefully better moving forward, conduct much of a in-depth press releases, in-depth investigation so the public can be better informed. We have a lot of work to do in Liberia, obviously.
Okay. The liberal.
The liberal reform.
The liberal.
The liberal receiving touch.
Yes.
I see you taking notes. I try to be like you this evening, looking at the tweet, the line here. Somebody, the liberal kicked the can down the road this evening, blah, blah, blah. But that's your view, that's your opinion. It doesn't mean you'd necessarily do it. Now we hearing views and opinions from contributors, analysts. We're looking at the second phase. I didn't hear it. I didn't hear any asking questions of the bill of sale of those arms. Who bought them? There were a lot of information released. We know where it came from. We know allegedly the person who did the shipping and all of that. So the question now is how they got to him before they even arrived in Liberia. So who bought those arms? There must be a document. There must be a trail. There must be a trail there. There must be a document. It's like when EMS or how you call it, Amazon breaking parcel, right? You are the buyer. They're the sender. So that correlation is there. So in as much those information were released today, why we didn't know who the buyer to the do you think we will know it in the next conference? Hopefully the press briefing.
Thank you, Mr. So. Right now, I'm just going to be sitting back and enjoying the show.
Why will you say back?
So I have nothing. I'm seriously doing some analysis of this whole show here tonight. Our time management, our corresponding with each other, our respond to each other. I'm seriously jotting down a lot of notes here tonight. So I'm going to stay out of this here. You guys go ahead.
You never started it. Well, what? No, we need to know why you want to stay out of it.
Let me preparing a case for you. When you ready to sue you.
Time to make your case. You don't make your case. You started off here.
Brother Sure, please leave the liberal alone.
I will take this time.
I beg you, leave
that liberal year time to somebody.
Well, this is strange for the liberal to say.
let him take notes.
Okay. So tomorrow is Saturday. We know it's not an official working day in Liberia. In the coming week, let's spin the ball around the corner here. In the coming week, Amos George, what are you anticipating hearing from GOL, from securities sources?
Maybe next week, because tomorrow is almost like a holiday in Liberia. Saturday and Sunday, nothing will have to be done. So maybe Monday next week or something. But Mr. Tool, here's one thing again I'm afraid of. No, if you are smuggling arms, it will not be like that. You have to dismantle those arms. You cannot smuggle an arm like that. It has to be dismantled. If a government is shipping arms to another government, it's put in a box, sealed, and it's shipped from there to the final destination of the other government. And open those guns will be assembled under the magazine, and then will be a pack. So those things for those arms to be in the barrels, I'm still wondering. It raises too many questions in my mind. I used to ship before. Now, we had BFA at the time. BFA will go to the warehouse where all the goods are packed. They will decide to open certain barrels and things, and it stay there. Those things go into the container, it lag right there, and it gets to the port. Now, at the final destination, the container, when they get to the port, before they depart the port, the U.S. Customs scans most of the container. If there's anything that they are not certified with, what do the magna container inform the final destination, that country, and say, search this container. do a thorough check of this container. It will be marked. Everything is sent to the final destination. The custom, the local security will take, when they unload the container, they will put that particular container aside for final inspection of that container because there has been a tip-off. With armed, they will do the same. With drugs, they will do the same. Whether it did happen in the case, I don't know. And moreover, the question is, in the port, do the custom, do they, or the company that managing the tracking number now, they're supposed to have a scanner to scan that container for metal and everything to see whether something foreign is in that container. So these are questions I want the police to answer. What are the custom or the broker that are now in charge of the BFA, what do they have scanner? What do they do to scan those container? Because the last time I sent something, they said no. This time they don't do BFA. The container get at the port, sometimes they say, okay, to the final destination. Maybe they go to somebody, yeah, the custom and the other security part, they go there, they open it, and they do the inspection there. So these are some of the questions. The bail online, what do you do when you're shipping? The method for the bail online, you list everything that is in that container on the bail online. It's shipped to Morovia. The broker collects it, take it to the new authority. Based on that, they will tell you, okay, these are the items that yes, okay. They charge you. When you clear that container, there's all the agent will be there. Custom, DEA, Liberia National, NSA, they'll be on that container to see the final destination open and the goods is discharged from there. These are some of the process that goes on in doing this work. Now, let me just say something to Mr. Kede.
Quickly.
Do not say there's no more professional, they didn't pass. No. When the UN took over, when Ellen took over, the UN retrained the police officer. Most of the all officers did not pass the attitude test. They drafted. The UN drafted and they selected a group of officers from the Liberian National Police and were trained by the UN. And besides that, there are other officers who are going to get further training. What is happening is people are not exhibiting the professional attitude in the country. Patrick Sulu, do you know Patrick Sulu? Patrick Sulu is an old policeman. He's a veteran policeman. Patrick Sulu, the director of police now. From that time, he was in the police. He went to the academy and had received many training in this country also.
Oh,
Don't use that as an excuse. You have people who have been trained, but they are not applying what is happening in the country.
Okay,
let me just put it quick. So do not use it as a distraction that, oh, the people are not trained young people. No. You have professional people in that building, but they are not doing what is required of them. My uncle was killed in Liberia, live. People are already in the house. When I was asking the people, where the police? They said police guy, but people are already in the building. But I said, then no case again. This is what happened in the country.
So question here, and let's spin around here. The authority, they are in charge of the investigation here. But I remember one of my trips to Liberia, and any of you here who have traveled, even interstate or whatever, we travel with electronics, and it will go through the system. I don't know exactly how. See me texting here, try to get some information with people who involved in the shipping here. But even if you're traveling to Liberia, you carrying ordinary suitcase, and say you get electronics or something in your suitcase that if it goes through the radar system, if it is not pick up, well, TSA, they always open people's suitcase for photo check. Because I remember when I was going, my suitcase was open. The only good thing is that's why I always like to post TSA lock, because they have that code. It was open, but then when I got there, like everything was kind of in disarray. But then I saw the sticker, the pad.
the pass.
Yeah, when they do that, they will always drop something there as an indicator that it was opened by authority, because maybe you have something there to. I'm wondering, is that how the case with this shipping? Do they go through that too, or it's just a little bit different? That's one of the things that we need to establish.
Well, let me
Okay.
just let me just say this, a couple of things based on what Pop George just said. And for the interest of supporting Keto, you see, police work is evolving at all times. It's required as a police officer, you do 40 hours of training every year to enhance your ability.
In service.
Yeah. You have to do in-service training. And until you understand that the competency training that you need to take 40 hours per year is very vital, because you can take in any area of investigation in community policing or anything for that matter. And there is no country that has a police department that can totally police the country. You will always have more of your citizens than that of police. And in the case of Liberia, you got what, 15,000 police officers, even at that? And just in Monrovia, 1.5 million people? It's impossible. Policing is never complete without citizens' involvement. That's why police go to a place and they ask the citizens first, what happened? That's what it entails with an investigation. In this case, all of what we're talking about, these are all allegations.
Yeah.
These are all alleged crime that's been committed, or they found these weapons. It could be that the evidence would not support the arrest at the end. And so what do? That's why we talk about most of these investigations in the past that have not been completed, because we don't gather the information. We're quick, we're overzealous. Again, I'll go to, as a security personnel, you cannot be overzealous. You sabotage your case when you're being overzealous. And I think that was shown by the press conference. They were too quick to hold a press conference, and now all of these questions need to be answered. That's why you always take time to get all your evidence before you have a press conference. That way you can be able to answer some of those questions. And, we know the press people that don't know better anyway. They ask questions totally out of whack. So in the situation here, what I suspect is that they're turning their heads right now, trying to figure out how to repair some of the damages that were already been made.
Okay, please call. You say you just ship a container. Let's get a sense. Trying to somebody who be to me. Let me get a sense too. Yes, it's a go ahead.
Mr.
After Moses.
Okay.
You don't?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Mr. So.
Yeah.
I'm here shaking my head at all of the procedures Mr. George tried to lay out on how things are shipped.
Mm-hmm.
Right there in LA, in Los Angeles, where we have one of the largest places that have a lot of containers that come in ports, like got containers. People still smuggle stuff into the United States.
Absolutely.
People smuggle guns. People smuggle guns out of the United States to cartels in Mexico and everywhere else, and money. The United States that has all of these scanning ability, smugglers are always in a cat and mouse race with law enforcement. And so if people are able to smuggle illegal stuff into America, out of America, imagine that it can be done to Liberia. The other piece also is that I hear people keep saying the guns were made, they're not American guns, they're not American guns.
I know.
Every gun made anywhere in the world is available in America. Have you heard of straw purchases where people buy guns in other people's names? That's how the Crips, the Blood, all of these gangs have guns. They're AK-47s on the streets of Chicago. Are you really telling me that we don't believe that people can buy guns from gangs in America and be able to smuggle them to Liberia?
Oh yeah.
I think like somehow there will be a receipt that somebody. How many Crips or Bloods guns have you found with a receipt that you can show what the receipt was for this gun? Hold on, Mr. George. I don't think the LeBron National Police issue is who bought the guns. Is we're looking at who shipped the items. And with all of the mistakes we listed that the police did, I really don't want to believe. I really hope that I'm not proven wrong. But I really don't want to believe that Inspector Patrick Sudu will come on national radio and lie about the origin of the container when you know that this is something that is so easy to be debunked. The next thing is he also spoke about a tandem and parallel investigation will be taking place in America. He even spoke about liaising with American authorities trying to see if they can even extradite or have some investigation going on here. So I understand all of the mistakes made with the rush to the press and the touching of evidence without gloves on their hands. I get it, but I think we should just like how we were okay when the police came to talk about
No, caller, hold on 1 second. Caller, please lower your monitor. If you're on the line here, lower your monitor, please.
Just like we were all okay.
214 number, please lower your monitor.
Just like we were all okay when the drugs were found and the police made the announcement and they talked about the U.S. government helping them. None of us came there to say, well, how was it not scanned here? How was it not done here? We all accepted that. Why are we having the problems now? We're saying, okay, we get it. Let's wait and let's see. They made some mistakes, but let's look at their conclusion. Let's look to see the process. Are they going to make corrections like OJ said? Are they going to make corrections to those mistakes as we go forward? For me, I want to say that I know that my republic will not have a police director that will come on national radio and national TV to announce that continue with guns. First thing, there's a violation of U.S. laws for those guns that have been shipped out of here, and that they will come out and make those statements, knowing fully well it's so easy to track the container. Right, so for me, I'm not so much focused on whether the guns were made in America or not. There are AK-47s in the hands of Bloods and Crips. My students here in Brooklyn Park, Brooklyn Center have been shooting one another with guns here that are on the streets that people can buy and ship. And to talk about smuggling and talk about all of these sophistication, the United States has those things sophistication, and the cartel, the Sinaloa cartel is still getting money and guns out of America, shipped to them right out of America. So I just want us to give them the benefit of the doubt and presume positive.
Let's go to the phone line here quickly. Let's go to the phone lines here and get quick reaction here. Let's go to this. Mr. Double, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, good evening. Welcome. I mean, Sister say shipping is just a crazy thing. Yeah, tell us quickly 1 minute here to share your experience.
Yeah, so thank you very much. It's Prince Double. I just shipped a 40-foot container out of Kentucky, Louisville. You gotta when they pick it up and take it, it pass through New York. They got federal posts that container can leave, but New York is a big post. It's basically it's fast for you get your container on a vessel very quick when it goes through New York. So when it gets to New York, they're going to scan it. Yeah. My friend, I shipped. Then 1 week later, no, the guy shipped before me. 1 week before before I shipped, the guy got bleach in his container, and you got to declare. You got to tell the people the shipping line. If you ship it, if you send it bleach, chloride bleach, you got to tell the people they scan it to pull the guy container. They're not gonna scan the container and see something illegal, then they continue to leave. I think Pastor Joy, you're talking, that's that different story. When they scan that container and they find anything illegal, they're gonna pull that container, they're gonna hold it. So right now, that bleach, for the bleach the guy put in that container, the guy gotta get a letter from the department or health or whatever, and send it to the shipping line send it to custom before the container gonna leave. So when they scan a container and find something like guns in there, they're not going to say go, the container go, and then tell your government, they say container come. The first thing the government will have issue, why is sending gun? Go inside, he's sending it to my country. So they're not going to let it go. They're going to put it. They're going to set it down here. You're going to call them, then they're going to talk about it, and they straighten it up. Like the bleach or example that I gave you, the guy have to send all legal document. They're going to see it and make sure the bleach, that the quantity of bleach, they say they had 100 of cartoons. The man say he only got 28, so they got to verify all the things before they go. He said that's a hustle news. You're not going to sell it. So bleach, they're going to scan it, find it, and let it go. They scan that thing and find a gun. They can't put that container on the ship. That container will not leave. But you can send the gun. You can wrap it the way I don't know that what the police are supposed to carry the press people to open the thing and to see how the guy wrap those things. Or he been sending it small, pieces. He sell 5. He sell. You know, grab a bunch of guns and send it. The people going to catch it. They put it in a box or whatever. They're going to see it.
So
You
quickly,
gotta, people.
Yeah, quickly before you go and who you call into. So the scanning, is it done like from the initial pickup location or is at
no, like here we got land lot here. We don't have water here. We don't have the sea here. So they bring the container to your area where you tell them to put it. Like we got a shipping dock.
Right.
They bring the container. You put your things in it. The shipping line they got with using merch line. They got bunch of, I think 4 or 5 companies. But when using merch line, they will come and pick it up and take it to the shipping dock. Now New York now. When it gets there, that's when they're going to scan it. They're not going to scan it here. The guys who they're taking it from here, like the truck driver, the company hire the people who they come and take it and carry it to the shipping dock. They scan it before they put it on the vessel.
So
that's why when you put in car, when you put in the car inside there, the car got to get tattooed. You send the tattoo to the shipping line. The shipping line got to verify that the car is yours or whoever that is. They see the car before they would. Because they will scan the car, scan the VIN number in the car. If the car blow a line, they will put that container down. You straighten it up before they put it on the ship.
Mr. Toll asked, did he ever get beat?
So from the whole thing here, do you see it impossible that then how can we reconcile this with this kind of thing here? Or the question now becomes how
so they can't get it. The people can make mistakes. That whole scanning, you got 100 containers coming. They can't scan all those. I don't think they scan it. The people can make mistakes too. Because some teenagers can go down there, some bleach land, the bleach I'm talking about now, bleach down go to Liberia before, they didn't catch it. But the particular when they caught it, they pulled it. But when they go to Liberia, you see the police did a very foolish job. They found the person who did it. Look, LRA, the Liberia Revenue Authority, when you enter Liberia, when your container sale 1 week, your broker are in Liberia. Because I'm not there, I got a broker there. The broker is registered with the government. Because he broke into, he got his register, he got a broker lesson. I send all the information here. That time I just say you list all the things on the container at a level. You list all the things, how much taxes you pay.
Okay. Let me go to the other question.
You send a thing, then you get it Labrador. You paying your taxes to the Labrador Revenue Authority. So my lean now, my continuum, my bill of lending, everything, I send it, and my broker carry to Labrador Revenue. So it's there. It's very easy to catch. Who send a container to look? I pay double send a container from here because I paying taxes. My broker get all the information. So
let me get this other people. Thank you so much. Let's see it. 443 number. Are you there?
Yeah. Good evening to all your panelists and guests. Listen, there are just too many things that went wrong here. Look, for us who are old enough to remember the Franzamiton effect and all of that, this thing smells too much like it. The first thing, the police director said they were tipped. If they were tipped, you carry the press with you. So when the container is put down, you arrest the container and you open it for the press to see what's in it. But you take 2 baskets and kind of show a whole lot of guns, and they say, let's go to the container. You say, oh, hey, there's some other thing inside. Who put the other thing inside that you're hiding now? If you show the gun. You see, sometimes when we hear these things, we got to put common sense and deductive reasoning to work. The first thing, if we even understand the protocol of government, that what's happening is not a police issue. It's an NSA issue. Why was the NSA and the military visibly absent? Not even the justice minister. Who were all these people sending all over there?
The NSA were pressing.
This is not a police issue. The police should be used to cordon the area and escort the NSA cars and things. They're not supposed to be handling this thing face front. That's not their business. This thing is beyond them. Somebody is bringing in arms that could be dangerous to the safety of the country. And police, the same police who can't even find somebody that killed Doe yesterday. No, listen. These people, what happened here is they have screwed themselves. They went and did more than they can chew. The fact that you say it came from America, that means you invited the FBI. If you invited the FBI, whatever you say you were hiding will come out. And that was the slip of tongue. And you try to correct it by saying we congratulate. These people don't get food. You call their name with national security problem, you will answer for it. So the whole thing, the police shouldn't be handling it.
Okay,
The
thank you so
second thing,
much.
the people who should be handling it, they were not present.
Oh my God.
The third thing, if a container came, why weren't the press there? Then you went to the house. You say you called down the house. And the man who you're throwing in the ceiling was laying down waiting for you to come the next day, and he didn't run away. He stayed there until you went and caught him in the ceiling. And as far as I saw, they were taking the arm from the eave of the house. So who will keep the arm in the eeve of the house? So, I mean, there are just too many things that don't add up. And this is my wheelhouse.
Okay, thank you so much.
I study this thing. And what's happening, it doesn't add up at all. And
let me go to the next person here. There are a lot of phone calls here. Okay, thank you so much. All right, thank you so much. Let me go to this number, then I'll go back to my. I'm getting message from Liberia here. I call out. Go ahead. 608 number. Are you there? 608-013-0134. Caller, are you there? 608. Are you there?
I think Jonathan hung up on the caller.
Well,
let me just say something.
The
caller, 717. Are you 717? Are you there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go 1 minute. Go ahead quickly, please.
This is going to support that we are shipped to Liberia, because with that shipping container now, we're going to get hard time shipping container because what it's saying, government is saying that you ship container because some always speak about from the people who know what it is.
Oh.
So now, when they open our container at the port, we lost. And we pay for people barrel because they can steal a lot of things at the port.
Oh.
Yeah, so what actually happened, the government acting greedy. Beaver was doing the work. They took the job from Beaver and gave it to some kind of company in Liberia that not even get scanned up. Then they say, upon arrival, inspection upon arrival. How will you do inspection upon arrival? You're not getting equipment. They get one equipment there. So what they're doing now is the shipping line used to get a tracking number. Now we're paying tracking number. How will you ship an envelope in America? Then the post office, then the government of Liberia give you tracking number. What about the post office? What kind of number they can give you?
Okay. Thank you so much.
A tracking number.
That's governance.
When the government says we pay tracking number fee, we got to pay that tracking number fee before they even go to LRA to pay revenue.
Thank you so
much. If not pay that tracking number fee, your container going to demoralize.
All right. Let's find time.
Very hard time. It got economic impact too.
Okay, we need to find a shipping group. Their leaders, you need to come.
Serious economic impact.
How it works, and I'm not coming. But thank you so much. And we can. Let me go back to my guys.
Jonathan, ready for an economic question again?
Jonathan, relax. Jonathan, relax.
Yeah, Mr.
Go ahead.
Look,
go ahead. I gotta get this here for
about this thing being a governance issue. It appears as though we're trying to ignore national security issue. Now, when I got on the show, my limited understanding of national security, and let me tell you, for those of us on the show, national security are human beings. They get blood running through their veins. They get friends, they get trust. They can speak to people. Now, Bugume we're talking about. I listed to you 3 cardinal issues that when you're shaping, national security takes serious interest into. I listed the issue of money, and that's why the 16 billion came in. And we know when that 16 billion aside, I'm not belaboring it. When that 16 billion came, we knew what it is involvement and what led to the Coos report. When weapons come into a country, it's national security issue. When chemicals for industrial purposes lay in your through a cedar port, they are national security investigation issue. When we're talking about the issue of will, the world on the path. We know that our security can do it all. Our security, they are our brothers, they are our sisters. That's why we always hope that
let me
there will
see
be
here. This is Liberia calling. You need to hold on one second. This is Liberia calling. Let's see here. Good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning, caller. Yeah.
Yeah, good morning. I'm calling from Morovia. My name is Tommy So, and I want to say hi to all the panelists over there.
Okay, let's hear from you. What is the news on the ground there?
Constitutionally, like other men and panelists have been saying, case will be hard nature of that. It should be addressed by the chairman of the Joint Security, which is the Justice Minister, Attorney General of the Republic of Liberia. If the country is at peace, the Justice Minister chair the Joint Security. That includes the NSA, the Army, the police, the immigration, and what have you. But here is different right now. Everybody want to make gain. The Inspector General just took a hasty decision to have a press conference yesterday. Besides that, if you want to go into detail, when you do a shipping, they get a shipping line. You go to the shipping line, they get a bid on lady, and they will tell you the consignee, the person who will receive it from this end. And again, George was saying something. We have qualified people in this country, but what they did when they got into power, they decided to sideline all of those people. You remember, even when they were taking over, they told the minister, "Then when I meet you there, how can you run a government that the man you're taking from, you don't know where you start to and where you're going to start?" So everybody want to make deal, and it's smart thing they want to make issue. But then again, we should be very cautious. Because this thing when it started, we're not talking about only the CDC government, it's a national issue. We talk show hosts come out to say a whole lot of things. The government should have strong restrictions, such a thing that people who made the regular statement, they should be punished. Because when this war that broke Liberia down today started in Nimba, people said it was a makeup. People just wanted to kill people from Nimba. And at the end of the day, we saw what happened. 14 to 18 years, we went through it. So when it comes to the because you don't like the government, let everybody just remain mute and see what the security will do and do their job. But people come, oh, they people want to do that, they want to do that. And if it happens, we're all going to feed it. But again, it's the security, the justice minister, because this is why when they carry these people to court and the police make a follow-up, and nobody will prosecute them. You should have the justice ministry there and the chairman of the joint security to make the case so that when they go to case, they will make a follow-up on it, because the police don't want to go to case, they want to get evidence. And you have the state prosecutor to prosecute these people. But here, everybody want to make news and maybe to get favor. That decision of the police, Inspector General, it was not timely, it was very, very wrong.
Okay.
Exactly my point.
Thank you so much.
Totally.
Thank you so much. Look, okay, guys.
Yes,
let's
just to
come back
close on my point.
Janitor,
your internet here.
Up and down.
I would not
support. Forget it. Don't you say anything anymore.
I would not any form of.
Janitor is
not. Oh, you're not part of the 20,000. I don't know, 70,000.
No, man. It's flooding in California. So the Miami internet problem is the weather in California.
Janitor, it's not working.
Janitor, all right. Okay, yeah, we are kind of out of time. Janitor, we barely hear what you are saying. So.
As a public
George, say your phone to your brother down there. Just to him down there.
The government agent has taken responsibility.
Y'all leave Janitor alone, man. Please, I beg you.
All right, Janitor, I think your line is not serving us here. We almost, yeah.
No, the men in California, they're having bad weather in California.
But the liberal is in California.
The liberal way in Mexico.
And I guess we're having bad weather. You know that simply McCarthy air, he can't get it.
I'm hearing a lot of maybe something happening.
No,
your line is having, yeah. Yeah, but okay, make your point quickly now so that other people will go before we can wrap up. Janitor?
He go again.
Yeah, quickly. I was just saying we are not. It is not our place It is, I know y'all bring it this small thing, but it's not our place to either condemn what is going on as in making politics out of it. When we talk about political will to do these things, you listen to the caller talk about the economic hardship we will pose on those who are remitting things to the country, what it will do to them. We have all spoken about the TM that were illegally placed in ports, extracting money from people. Now we talk about 100 million worth of drugs. One human being, one single human being. The public means by which about 100 million worth of drugs needs to all. One human being and not be penalized. 100 million worth of drug pass through your airport. It think all the human beings are in like bro passport. That everybody got to be careful like bro. One human being in national taking responsibility.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, guys, I think we are over the time. Let's spin it. Then probably I will just take few calls because other people calling. This is a national issue, and they are our follower, they are our viewer, and I can't just have you here all year for the right. For those of you calling, please hold on. After my panelists, I will spend maybe 10 minutes with you all and just hear from you before we go. OJ. How your sleep gonna be like tonight? This is, you know, there seems to be a divided house here. Okay, people, their apprehensions based on past history, but we got to allow the people to get their job done and see what happens at the end of the day. I know it's an awesome to religions investigation, a lot of endless investigation. Well, so you talk to other people, you say, well, the investigation is conclusive. So it's a sort of difficult thing. But with this one, when it comes to this armed business is a very serious thing. We don't know. Maybe that there are 2 or 3 places being identified. We don't know what's going to happen from now until Monday, whether there are other stockpile, maybe outside. Who knows? Who knows? They get some outside of Moravia. You never know. Who knows? A border area, there are other things there. What should be our focus point now? What should we be doing, hoping to do, or hoping to hear from our national government for security, for stability? Because politicians, we have major political actors, they've been speaking carelessly. They've been talking blood and bath, blood, people going to share blood, people going to do this. And so when people talk those kind of talk, and we see things that accompanied sharing blood being visible, it's then you wonder what the heck is going on. Our leaders, what are they saying? On what basis they were really making this sort of statement?
Yeah, we just have to wait and see. We have to just wait and see how all this unfold. There's a lot of different parts. I am definitely in agreement with a lot of the things that's been said. But honestly, this whole situation could go in many directions. And the only way is just to wait and see and hear more investigation or more results from the investigation. My thing is, I'm just very curious who these individuals are. I just want to know. I even try to do some research, look up the name to see if I can find this gentleman Baker on LinkedIn, but nothing came up. But I just want to know more of the people and then the reason. I did really like what one of the callers said. He said that he sends bearers, right, to Liberia containers. And I know a lot of people who do that. And oftentimes they don't really know what is in the bearers. So I got to thinking, I wonder if the sender, Baker, if he was familiar with what was in the container or not. But I mean, the fact that he works for, American Airlines says a lot. So I'm just waiting patiently to hear more about what is unfolding.
Okay, thank you.
Moses has something to say. I saw his.
Today's Friday. Yeah, today's Friday. We don't want to hold you up here, but thank you so much. And please stay safe. And we are in prayer with people in California that with the bad weather.
I gotta go now.
Yeah, thank you so much. Moses, any final word before you leave too?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. If you want to leave, you are most welcome. I'm just going to spend a few minutes with some of the callers. They're still calling just for respect. Yeah, Moses, make a final departing statement quick.
Let me just say this. Thanks to everyone for your contributions tonight. We've learned a lot, and we anticipate at least something that may result from all of this. Now that we have this kind of platform, I think it's going to put pressure on the police department to continue their investigation and come up with substantive report reported on that. But initially, when I talked about the Attorney General or prosecutor being present, we didn't see that. We talked about, joint security, and the joint security, this guy who just called from Liberia.
There's a UK caller here. UK, just hold on 1 second. Moses, go ahead.
Yeah, the caller from Liberia made it explicitly clear that the Attorney General has the national security apparatus, and when you do, he was speaking as chair of the national security at the talk, and that's not unusual because we're seeing that happen before with Johnson, where they bring NSA, CIA, and all those different apparatus together. But all in all, I stay, am concerned about how quick they were to host the press conference. I think again they were overzealous, and which means that they, about to, and hopefully mistakes and try to do their due diligence in coming up with a concrete report so that we can prosecute the individuals directly involved with this, and that they would not be levying charges on them. They should leave that to the Department of Justice to do that. Just collect the evidence and give it to them. And so we will see what happens tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you so much, Moses. Guy, all right. Before you guys go, let me see the UK person I've been putting down hold. Sorry, caller, please. Caller, are you there from UK?
Yeah. I'm calling from Norway.
Oh, Norway.
Thank you, brother. So
thank you.
Thank you, brother. So, and thank you to all the panelists.
Good morning. Yes.
One thing I want to say is that they have our great weapons that were brought in our country. Issues should not be taken lightly.
Right.
All Liberians should condemn it because our people suffer. We suffer during the brutal civil war in Liberia. I can remember there was a chief in Niba County who saw those guys in the forest. And then the chief came to town and told the people. People started condemning this man, you see. And the old man went to Niba County, very sad. And behold, it became truth, 1989. The guys started from that forest, go to a country. So, so the whole issue here, we have to be very, very much careful. And see, I don't think I hear people saying, that the government doing this and that. No. You see, no government will allow instability because peace in Liberia will be a boost for the government. You see, peace in Liberia will be a boost for the government. You see, so I want everybody, this issue here, that we all condemn it. All political parties condemn the issue here. It is not something that we have to politicize and politicize the thing. I hear people saying, and I say that on the private tonight, though. I hear people saying it's impossible for them to shake hands from the United States. They are shaking hands from the United States into Mexico, Guatemala, all those kind of places there. Let us not say that America is so righteous and this and that. No, you see, we need the issue need to be investigated. Thank you very much, Mr. So.
Thank you so much for being awake here. And that's the law for the country we want. People are awake this sort of morning hour, not that they don't want to sleep, but they are concerned with what is happening in their country. Thank you so much. I'm sorry putting you on low, but thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Who wants to go next? The call coming about. Yeah, go ahead, sis.
Let me close out because I too got to run. But I think we've said everything. I think though that there were mistakes made, and I think even the Liberian National Police, if they look back at the happenings and they reflect, they will know that there are some things they should have done better. The biggest piece for me here is that publicizing the names of the suspects or the persons of interest in the U.S. when you have not yet completely liaise with the law enforcement agency to make sure that person can be in custody. You create problem that person could flee the U.S. because right now there is nothing stopping them from doing that. And those are all part of the errors. However, though, I, as a Liberian, I don't support George Weah for president, but I support peace and security in Liberia. And I hate to believe that George Weah will won war in Liberia. I've not seen any evidence of that. I can disagree with him without lying on him. So I want to believe that the Liberian National Police also is interested in peace. And so one thing I would advise, if anybody, in policing listens to me for what it's worth, is the next few days are times for you guys to tighten your belt, tighten your policies, your procedures, and who comes out when you speak, when you give information. This cannot be an investigation that goes somewhere and dies off. This is an investigation that has your entire reputation at stake. This has to be conducted seriously, and we have to come to a final point, and findings have to be made. If those guns were shipped from the U.S. with the intent of destabilizing Liberia, and they are in the process violating U.S. laws and sanctions and ECOWAS sanctions and U.S. UN sanctions, those people should be held accountable. The full weight of the laws, both in the U.S. and in Liberia, should be brought to bear. I would be one person that would support that. But I just think that the police need to regroup. The national security apparatus need to regroup and just think about the way forward and make sure that there are not any more mistakes that will take away from the substance. Because right now we're focusing on the mistakes versus the substance of the fact that guns are in Liberia and the police are saying that it was illegally brought in the country. That is the substance. But we have spent a lot of the time on other things because of the way the press conference was handled. So I'm hoping the police and the joint security will take action and make sure that going forward, however way this is handled, that it doesn't take away from the substantive issue that it brought to the public.
Okay, thank you so much, Sissy. Pa George, quickly, your final statement.
Let me say this. For me, I lived in Liberia throughout the war. I know what it looked like. So I do not support any armed insurrection. But what's more I've seen here in law enforcement, you can have a case with all the evidence. But if it is not protected and presented the right way, you lost that case. And that is what's more are doing on the mistake of the police. Because this is not the first time. We saw the case with Yaga Kolba. The police said they searched a car. They arrested the man. They didn't see they searched a car. They came back and went back. When the men were not there, no warrant. They said the phone gone there. How can Yaga Kolba won that case? The Supreme Court threw the case out. So these are critical things we're talking about. You can get auto arms, but if the evidence is not preserved, protected, and presented in the way in court, the court will throw that case out. And people will be wondering, oh, the gun that doesn't know. It's not it. The way you protect that evidence, the way you preserve the evidence, the way it's presented to court, because the defense will be asking all the questions. So we have to be very good. That was more focusing on what the police, because this is not a first time, and this is what I dream.
Okay.
So this is the issue. And let me tell Mr. Double, you talk about container. If the time we were shipping, when people in America, people will come at the warehouse, they will send somebody at the warehouse. Expect the goods there. Before that is loaded onto the truck. That is the but before that there. So what they're doing, I don't know. And again, some of the questions we're asking, suppose it is a syndicate. The guy said, you know what? As soon as you open the barrel, they take it off. Those are the mic. But I just have
okay.
All the questions come out. It's not the first all the questions that we're asking.
Caller, hold on. You know your monitor.
That the arm were not shipped. No, we know the hour shipped. But
all right. Okay.
Question.
Get out your final statement. Liberal, are you staying out completely tonight?
No, I'm not staying out completely.
They make enough evidence now coming back now to can't lay a case.
Oh no, but after Keto, the show closed. So I think that Monday you bring your evidence. Keto, go ahead, make your point quick. Guys, those of you on the phone, please hold on. Let me complete my and then take few calls before I can go to Keto. Go ahead quickly.
Thank you.
Brother So and my brother Cisse for giving a great analysis. Yeah, I think it's
Guys,
only
keep you on the phone or join you in a few seconds. Yeah.
I think it's only fair for us to do our country justice, for us to know where we came from, for us to not politicize this thing. I will always remind us the late Samuel Canyon Doe said, when two elephants fight, the grass suffer. If we continue politicizing the thing, we have ourselves to be blamed.
I need to stop the elephant from fighting.
But George, tell
Well,
the guy make his statement. So we to do.
Go ahead. So this is the thing, right? I think there's an ongoing investigation. Like I said before, and Mr. My brother Cisse backed me. I don't think the IG will be that naive to implicate or call on the Americans or the country United States of America that arms came from the America and went to Liberia. I don't think he would say that. We're all getting his facts together. I think, like he said, he would tip off. He congratulated. He thanked the American government. He thanked the security apparatus. And another thing I want to say, NSA were right in the room. The deputy NSA director was sitting right next to Patrick Sulu when they were giving that information. I agree with you guys that they should have division of labor in these things. Everything we see in Liberia today, what if somebody died, instead of sending homicide people to go investigate, you will see the police standing right there. So I mean, there should be division of labor where they will say, okay, homicide different, security, or what is in the CID and different group will go together. They have to coordinate these things in Liberia. But like I said, we still in the learning process, and I think the police gradually getting there, and we should give them the praise and encourage them to do more. Liberia is all we have. So my brother Jonathan, forget about ANC. ANC ain't sending no data for your phone because it just freezes.
Okay, guys. Liberal, can you make a point before I go to the phone line? Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, very quickly. I also want to thank all of you tonight. It was a very spirited conversation, and I think with these kinds of discussion, things are very much on course here with us, and this is what we do here on Liberal Public Radio. You might disagree. By the end of the day, we try to be our analysts and everything else. They try to put things that as they believe they see. So you can disagree with them, but those are their view. This is how they believe, and I think we want to say thanks to all of them, and let's continue the good work. And I'll say good night to all of you.
Wow. First time, no power struggle.
That's a true liberal right there.
Are we sure they probably all right? I gotta call him to find out what's going on.
Okay, I don't. Please don't start no trouble. Let me go to the phone line here for the people. Okay, guys. So thank you so much for your time. George, thank you so much, guys. Let me see here. Let me bring the guys here. Okay. Okay. Phone number 614. I know you've been calling here. Let me. What's your name and where you calling from?
I'm Joseph Tamina calling from Ohio.
Okay, Tia, go ahead. Let's hear from you. Try to hold the line off for a little bit.
I heard people talking about the containers cannot leave the United States. They have scanners and all of those stuff. But one thing they don't understand, or maybe they know but they don't want to say it, whenever you call a shipping line and tell them that you have a container, they will ask you for a list of that container, what all you have. You will send it to them. They will send their container to you. You load it, and you send the container. They will take the container will go to the custom. Let's say, for example, say custom have about 100 containers, and they can only inspect 25. They will randomly select 25 containers. They don't want to. They are not going to take them. Just look, inspect them individually. They will randomly select 25 containers. Those 25 containers, they will open them. They got a company that they contracted. Those companies will go tear the container down, inspect everything over there, do their listing. If you honor declare, you will pay the extra. Other than that, if you are clear, they send your continuum. This is why some people send continuum, it takes like 2 months to go to Liberia, and some people send continuum, it takes like 3 months or 3 months plus to get to Liberia.
Okay.
Those continuum that stay long in a way are the ones that were selected and they are inspected. Most of the time, you see people complaining, oh, but the home and continue here and I'm paying too much money. That is the reason, because they honor declare.
All right, thank you so much.
In Liberia, they do the same thing.
I gotta go. Let me go to the next person here. Thank you so much for your contribution. 404 number, are you there? 404 number 5974. 404 5974. Are you there? All right, thank you. Now, well, folks, we want to thank you so much for your time, for those of you that call in, so those of you that are sending tweets, comments. We usually go back and learn a lot from your interactions, your engagement. This is a very sensitive issue, and so politics should be put aside. Despite of everybody, all of us, political differences, conversation, this is a serious one because we went down this route before and we know the end result, which we still not, we're still recuperating. So this is a very serious one, and we hope all those involved in these investigations, all of the parators, and not just only government alone, ordinary citizens, when you see something, you have to report it. That's the standard here. If you see something you know that is not right, and you for whatever reason you decide not to tell the authority, you are a collaborator. Yeah, you also will be held accountable, because if anything goes wrong, you witness it and you did not do anything to put stop to it. So if anybody knows anything that this, whatever it is, you are able to get something, you need to report this to authority. You need to tell someone, because the life you save could be yours or that of a friend. It is a very serious thing, and we must be able to help national government despite our political differences. We want to elect people that we know. We don't want anything coming for people to just go hijack power, because we're seeing what is happening around the world, around the regions with this military and all of that. It's unfortunate to see what is happening here, but our prayers and thought goes out to our country, and because we have families, we have brothers and sisters. All right, we have family people. My older brother just calling; they are all there. So you can't have us a good night here when you hear, God forbid, whether it's a firecracker fire in there. It doesn't know anybody. So we need to take that into consideration. It's a serious business. This is a serious issue, and that the national security or the joint security, the president, folks, opposition, imposition, everybody needs to keep their eyes open. We must be one another watchdog. We must report anything unusual, movement, gathering, conversation, and all of that. It must be reported to the national security. That's what people do here. I want to thank you so much for your time this evening. Have a pleasant weekend, wherever you are. Please, thank you so much for sharing your week with us. By God's willing, we're going to be back here same time, same station, with more editions of good programming. I am Alfonso Zian, so on behalf of the management and staff of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv, and we say happy birthday to one of our own, Mother Koto Jala. She's not here tonight. She's having a great birthday time, so we are there with her in spirit. Thank you so much, guys, and have a pleasant evening. Bye-bye.
DJ Square Production Classic today.
Oh, don't wait. We are don't wait. Don't wait till I die. Don't wait, yeah. Don't wait, my brother, don't wait. My sister, don't wait. Don't wait till I'm in the hospital, don't wait. I'm dying, don't wait. I need your help, don't wait. Don't wait till I die. Please help me, don't wait. wait, don't wait, don't wait. Don't wait. I need you help me now. Don't wait. Don't wait till I die. Don't wait till I die before you help me. If you want to help me right now. Don't wait, oh sister. Don't wait.
Don't wait. You want to help? It's time
said,
to help Mama
don't wait.
Liberia. Don't
My
wait
brethren,
until things
don't
fall
wait.
apart. Don't wait until
Don't
the
wait
sun
till I
can
die.
no longer hold. Don't wait
Before you
until
help
the
me.
falcons can no longer hear. The
I need your
falcons.
help.
It is our
Help me right now. I'm in the
And
hospital.
this is why I can get so pissed when we see our politicians, stakeholders, advocates claim to be, when they are unable to have a civil conversations and all of their worries are warlike words, tone. When it happens, when things like that we see happening, then we say these are things you talk about and these are things about to happen. If you have civil conversation, you can have a better result because these things that you talk, people kind of act and process, the process on it and they subsequently act on it. We need to start having civil conversations. Politicians, oppositions, advocates, radio hosts, people in high-profile positions, all their loose talk, all is fighting. We will do this. Blog will share. Blog will waste. We will see what happens. Everybody will. When you start talking this kind of talk and things start happening like this, then we want to call you into questioning. Because on what basis, what are you depending on to say these things that you are saying? And I don't think we want to go down the route. We went there and we saw the aftermath, and we still not even to recover. You think Sierra Leone, Ghanaian, Nigerian, they're not tired? They're going to be keeping your peace. When will you go keep people on a peace? We need to stop that nonsense. The elections is ahead. Go to the ballot box, start making your case, start telling us your agenda, how it will be done differently, what you have in store for you, what makes you to be, why you think you are better positioned than the person that is there. Why are you looking for that job? Those are the conversations, those are the talking points we want to start hearing. And we need to know, we need to start having those sort of conversations. And for those of you who support these people, it is time to look in their faces and tell them, the country comes first. If the country is not at peace, you think they're going to be senator, they will be representative, they will be president? Absolutely not. But the too much loose talk, the warlike talk, is too much. Forgetting to know a lot of people. We don't know where the demobilization process started, how many people were demobilized. People hair still spinning. I can say it because the way they act, the way they talk, the way they do things. So that's sort of reflections. They're still retrospecting the past things that they live and things they used to get. They are not getting that. So all of these crowded in their hair, and they're just waiting for anything so that they will get rich again one day overnight. And that time has come and gone. It is time for us to sit as a people, whether you are in Liberia, you are outside of Liberia. It is not about against or for the government, even the opposition. And this is where leadership comes in. When this kind of thing happens to leaders, you are leader of your own. You speak to your people, you speak to your supporters to exercise maximum restraint and allow the process to play out. We know things has been happening in the past and it will continue to happen no matter who gets there today, tomorrow, and day after. These things are always there because the people surrounding these leaders, they are unable to tell them. It is the same way people within the opposition column, they are unable to tell their surrogate to fine-tune their language and talk about these burning issues, how food going to get on the table of the Liberian people. It's not happening. So some of them, they behave more than people that we complain about. That also gives people the feelings that when they get there, there might be more worse. They're like we are raising our own alligators unknown to ourselves. So no one is off this radar, this sort of conversation that we are having. But I think our country comes first, and we need to put the interest of the country first. And when trust is lacking, That is a serious problem. We're seeing what is being played out here right before our very eyes. Kevin McCarthy, your own people are unwilling to put in there because of lack of trust. And this is what you don't want for people to lose in you. When that is faded away, forget it. Thank you so much. Have a pleasant Friday. And the weekend starts tomorrow. Please, in the East Coast and other places, the weather is kind of a little bit crazy. So please drive with care. Until then, have a pleasant evening. Bye-bye.
I just need you to help me one my life, and Jehovah will bless you. Don't wait till I die to rain cast and get my body to the grave. I said don't wait when I die before you praise me. Don't wait when I die to cry for me, man. Oh, don't wait when I die to post my photo. This woman was so sick. She was saying got up on her day. I said she went from place to place, but she could not get the treatment she needed. Finally, her son took her to the hospital. In the doctor said they should prefer pound of blood. But this woman could not afford the money. Oh yeah, giving her son could not afford it.